Alright, so on to the C and the D. Let me mention, we'll talk about the right hand a little bit after we look at the lick, just the fingering of the licks. So for the C, it's basically we could do the C up on the 6, start leading off on the 6th string if we wanted to down here, just like we did the G. Starting off with our root note on the 8th fret. Well, all we're doing is transposing it to where it'll work on the leading off on the 5th string up here, so we can stay in this register of the neck. Therefore, all we're doing is same thing. A lot of the lick is the same except over here on the higher strings. So I'm going to hammer in from the 1st fret to the 2nd fret on the 4th string, then to the 3rd fret on the 5th string, and then we're going to play the 2nd fret of the 3rd string up to the 5th fret of the 4th string, over to the 5th fret of the 3rd string. And then we're going to, so we're picking off from the 5th fret back to the 3rd fret on the 3rd string. And then we're going to go back to the 5th fret on the 4th string one more time. Then we'll come over to the 3rd fret of the 1st string and bend that up, 4th fret of the 2nd string up a half step, and then resolve it on the 5th fret of the 3rd string. Basically the same fingering. The notes are what the notes are doing as far as the flat thirds, flat 7. It's all the same. It's just with respect to the chord we're playing over. And all we're doing, instead of here, we're staying on the 3rd fret, whereas over here with the C, we're just basically playing over that C minor triad, whereas over here we're playing over the G minor triad. So when we do that in D, we just same fingering, we just move it up a whole full step. So and that's what you want to kind of get from this, is think about the notes we're playing. Look at those interesting notes. You should be able to pick out wherever your root note is. I mean, if you're going to play through the chord changes, then you've got to know where the root note is. The 5th is always easier to find off the root. It's either, you know, cross the string up a whole step, or if you're coming back this way, it's just like the G here, then the 5th's going to be one string up right there. Until you get to the B, you know, things are going to change there. But really know where your flat 3rd and your 3rd is, and where your flat 7 is. Now those notes alone kind of give you that honky-tonk bluesy feeling. But we're leaving out some other stuff, which is this whole chromatic walk we've got in here, from the 4 to the sharp 4 to the 5. And I'm not going to elaborate. You hear a lot of that in, like, we went through all of that. It was kind of like a sequence of licks. Think of like an Albert Lee lick in C. You know how he just keeps going and going and going and going, and that's using a lot of those chromatic notes. I don't want to get too buried down in that right now, because we're going to extend this lesson through. It's going to be a series of lessons. Let's just worry about the flat 3rd and flat 7, and understanding where these come from when we merge our shapes together. But just for the sake of doing so, if you were to transpose the two scales right on top of one another, it's a really weird, odd scale. I don't know if you'd want to practice it this way, but it would be like, let me think. A lot of chromatics in there. But think of like just went through, or it's that same blues kind of walking, that chromatic. We hear it in songs. It's just, you know, a lot of times it's in that context it'd be through, like, to me that sounds like an ending or an intro or something. We'll talk about it a little bit more as we go, you know, as we explore more in the lesson. Right now we're just kind of, I wanted to point out, you know, you're not going to get the flat third to the third pattern in your minor blues scale, and you're not going to get the flat 7 to the 5th or the 1 in your major blues scale. So in order to get the two, you've either got to do, this is just one of the ways you can do it. You can either superimpose the two scales right on top of one another. You could alter a mode. You could think of G Mixolydian, flatten back, we're just adding in the flat third. But here though, we're not sticking to the scale, we're understanding what those notes do with respect to a lick, and then we're moving it. We're moving it into C. I mean, the notes we're playing over the C don't all fit in the G major or G minor blues. They fit with respect to the C major or C minor blues, but we don't always have to think like that. We don't have to get that difficult, well, what am I trying to say, that technical about it. We're just playing a sequence of notes over and over and over, and the more you get used to hearing those sounds, the more you'll be able to pick them out when you're playing other songs. So let's look at the right hand real quick. Alright, so the picking, I'm just going to just show you a couple of different ways to play over the G, and then we can you can go from there. If you want to just stick to a pick, you're going to be skipping strings a lot, but you can play it. The only thing is you're just going to lose out on that kind of country poppy sound, funky sound. But it'd be like, alright, so it's basically like a down, down. So yeah, I guess I would do an upstroke on that E. Up, down pattern there. So I am doing a lot of upstrokes there. It would sound kind of weird. It would feel kind of weird playing that with just a pick, I suppose. But you could do it. Just mute your hand a little bit. Mute the strings a little bit is what I meant. Now if you want a higher pick, that's probably how I was doing it. And typically when I hybrid pick, the only time I'm going to use my middle finger is when I'm skipping a string. Descending, that is. Coming back the other way is different. I'll use my pick. And if you want to really get that authentic country popping feel, then use just your fingers, and you could get that. And you see that you can really feel the dynamics is a lot louder. And the way I'm going to do that would be, I'll probably lead off with my index finger. Well, you could. It doesn't matter. But as soon as I skip a string, I'm going to use a different finger than my thumb. Let's see. I'd probably lead off with my index finger. I might even throw my middle finger in there as well. Right there at the end. So basically, when I'm going down, I'm sticking with my middle finger. I'm sorry, my thumb. But if I'm skipping a string and I'm descending downward, would that be? No, I guess that'd be ascending, right? As soon as when I skip a string, I'm going to use my middle finger. Or I'm going to use my index finger. it's just like a down, up, down. So I would think of it in terms of down, I'm using my thumb. For an upstroke, I'm using my finger. Alright, now hopefully you can get that. If you need help there, you can see that in the video. If not, we're going to talk about right hand technique is a whole different topic in itself, which would be included in this lesson series. So we'll talk about it much more in detail in other lessons, along with hybrid picking, because that has to do with our tone, and that's very important in country music. So let me just show you one more thing. Alright, so let's just play through this a little bit more. And I'm not going to show you everything that I'm playing. I just wanted to elaborate on what we've talked about so far and kind of make it sound a little bit more authentic. So if we're playing the G blues, I don't know if that was a good rhythm, but to give you the idea, I could do something. Let's see. That was off the cuff. I was trying to throw in some more half-step slides, more like a Brent Mason like that. So we're adding in a lot of additional notes, but the idea is still the same, of converging both the scales. And then we went in, which is a lick we just looked over. And that's just resolving it back to G. We did that lick similar to a lick like that, similar in Get Up Billy Rocks. That's just extending that lick a little bit up further. And then went back to the something like that. Yeah, all that's coming out of those shapes. We're not limited to a certain. We're not really limited to a certain set of notes we can play. We're really just playing chromatics, but we're changing with the chords and keeping in the back of our mind what really gets that country sound is really kind of around that half step slides between the flat third, and the root note, and then the flat 7, and sometimes we'll add in the major 7, and then also those other chromatics in the minor blues. We'll talk about it a lot more, but like I said, we had a rough week with the weather this week, so let me just get this lesson posted and we'll try to continue on catching up and when we continue on with the series. Thanks for watching, guys.